Hello, everyone. Welcome to the marriage series. My name is Tiffany Ross. I am a minister, I am a mother, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a daughter, and I'm a friend. I am coming to you today to give you pretty much what I have been getting from the Lord through prayer, through my prayer time and study time, and through my fasting. Many times I take the time early in the morning to spend time with the Lord and to get any insight from Him regarding the times, get any wisdom from Him in terms of how to navigate certain circumstances, how to navigate life, how to continue to walk a godly life, a godly Christian life, in His way and in His will. So I'm always seeking God to find out and to understand how I'm supposed to be living while I'm here on this earth. And so over the past, during this pandemic, the Lord has been talking to me a lot about marriage. And so I knew at that time, I suspected at that time that He wanted me to share some of these things with people. But I had not been doing it. And so I constantly have been getting a lot of this insight, constantly have been getting a lot of direction and getting this direction confirmed, and also speaking to married people that I know and finding out that so much, most all of what I believe I was hearing from the Lord was true. And so me, a person who, having never been married and getting this kind of insight and it being so biblical, you have to know that it's come from above and not from below. And so I want to share a lot of this information with you. I want to share a lot of what I've learned, a lot of what He's shown me, and I want to be obedient. I know that I'm supposed to share these things, and I think I'm supposed to share them for other people, not just myself. And I want to make sure that I'm doing that. And so right now, using this podcast, I was doing podcasts before. And again, the intention was the same, was to share with the audience what the Lord has been giving me, the insight that He's been giving me. And so I had taken a hiatus and I had stopped recording and started doing more videos, actual visual videos. And that has continuously proven to be a stumbling block for me. And so I got this idea. Again, I was brought back to this to record and be able to record without actually having to put my face on the screen. And so it's a little bit of a distraction, and we're human. It shouldn't be a distraction. But many times us women, we just don't want to go before a camera and we're not ready. And many times the Lord gives me this insight and I am not camera ready, and I never feel camera ready. And it has become a stumbling block to me. And I want to be honest and transparent about that. So I figure I'd just be honest about it. And so I believe now He's pretty much letting me know, it doesn't have to be a stumbling block. You don't have to have your face on the screen to deliver any word that I give you. And so here I am. So what I want to do is share with you these things, share with you what He's been sharing with me. And I've been doing a lot of journaling lately, and I don't know if you do that. I don't know if you journal dreams and visions and things that the Lord has shared with you, but I recommend doing it. It is so good to be able to come back to what you know, because you think about when you're writing these things, you know that you're getting these things from the Lord, right? And that He's speaking to your heart. And when you come into a time of distraction or just not distraction, but when you come into a time of discouragement, it's really good to be able to go back and read what you know and what you knew at that time that God was saying to you. And so when I do write these journal entries, I usually put the date and the time, and they're usually very early in the morning. So I get up at 4 a.m. And spend time with the Lord. So I want to share with you some of these things. And so today, to kind of kick us off with this series, I want to read to you a post, a journal post that I wrote April 19th at 5:01 a.m. It says, "Prepare to exit. Get ready to exit. When my GPS says to prepare to exit, that means to get ready to transition from the expressway to the local road. In preparation, I am expecting to see the exit, moving over to the side that the exit is on and slowing down in anticipation for the exit. I'm doing whatever I have to do to ensure a smooth transition. How do I prepare to exit the highway of singleness to the local road of marriage? How do I prepare to exit the highway onto the local road of being a wife? Am I fully prepared to be a wife? What do I need to do to prepare? Slow down. Slow down and prepare to exit. Balance. I'm going to move on to, actually this is the same day, but I think it was later on in that day. It says, in continuation of my last post, I believe God is telling me to slow down. I believe he also said to balance my daily responsibilities and prepare to be a helpmeet, complementary. I've been feeling myself lately taking more of a dominant provider role, where I've been taking on the responsibility of upholding my household like a man would do in his role as a husband or provider. With that, I've been moving very fast and working continuously to ensure that I can provide. However, other areas of my life have been being a bit neglected. What I've been doing is living like I'm preparing to be a husband instead of a wife. To confirm this, I feel like God has been slowing me down. This morning, he told me to cook after working out and write my paper. Only after that could I go out and work. And when I did go out to work, it felt like I was going against the current. If I think about it, if my husband will be the one focusing on being a provider, possibly having to work long hours, he wouldn't also want to worry about having a meal cooked or the house being cleaned. One of the things that have been supporting me to go out there and work so hard is that my mom does all the housework. What if my husband needs someone who can truly balance the home life while he focuses on providing? I've had this before. I would get up super early, spend time with God, work out, cook breakfast, work, straighten up the place, do some homework, cook dinner, and get ready for bed. Get up early on Saturdays and wash and be present in the home. I need to be the one who makes the home feel like a home, bringing the warmth, peace, joy, love, kindness, gentleness, and all other fruit of the Spirit. That's what I think I should be preparing to be, or at least the way I need to prepare. But the truth is, I don't fully know. I do know that I don't want the transition into marriage to be hard. I don't want to have to muster up the strength to do those things after marriage, but be on top of it before it's a beforehand, so it's a smooth transition. Lord, help me prepare. If I'm missing something, please let me know. So I wrote this. At the time, I had been, just really working hard. I was working and I had these goals to bring in a certain amount of money a week, and I was doing that. And I found myself, I could feel myself, even see myself moving into this dominant position. And I almost felt proud that I was the provider and that I was standing before God, and everyone in my family and friends and my responsibilities were behind me, and I was providing these things, and I was making sure that everyone had what they needed, everyone had what they wanted. And I could feel myself stepping into this role of a provider, of a protector. And it seemed a little weird when I discerned it. It seemed a little weird, and I noticed that even my family was looking to me as such. And I remember driving. I was on the highway, and my GPS said prepare to exit in 0.4 miles or something like that. And after she said it, I kept hearing it, and I thought, what? Are you trying to say something to me, Lord? And I kept hearing it. Your GPS does what it normally does, and nothing seems strange about it, right? And then all of a sudden, my GPS, it continues to echo this in my head, even long after she said it. And I understood that the Lord was telling me to slow down. That at this time, my responsibility is not to prepare to be not to be in a position where it seems like I'm preparing to be a husband. but to be mindful and fully aware that I'm actually preparing to be a wife. And in that post that I read to you, I talk about cooking and cleaning and balancing home life and things of that nature. And a lot of people will have something to say about that. I know a lot of women have issues with gender roles and things of that nature, but I don't believe that I am saying that those things are what women should do. I believe every person is different, every marriage is different. Who am I to say? However, I think my natural disposition moves towards those things. And I happen to be a woman. But naturally, I have a desire to keep a home. I have a desire to bring the warmth to my home. I have a desire to do things that many women may feel is considered gender roles. But I don't believe it's gender role. I think I'm a woman, and this is my natural way for me as a woman. I naturally feel these things. I naturally desire to be a complement in whatever way my husband needs it. And we'll talk more in the future. We'll talk more about what that looks like and what God does as he prepares us to be a complement to our husband. But let me be clear that there's a way in which God does things. There is order to the way that he does things. And I have been able to see the tragedy that happens, the effects of order not being established first in the home, in the family, and I can see the disorder as it shows throughout. You look at children, you look at adults, you look at actually I was watching this so I am a prison minister as well. So part of what I do is go into the prison or the jail, and I teach the women there. And there's a common thing that I've noticed is that someone has dropped the ball. Now, at some point, you can't blame anyone else for a lot of the things that you do, right? But we can't dismiss what happens in the early stages of a person's life, where they are supposed to be in this covering, under this covering of a family, and someone drops the ball. Maybe both parents are alcoholics, or both parents are abusive, or one parent is abusive and one parent is on drugs, or both parents disappear and children are taken into foster homes, or the mother is a single mother and she gets in trouble because she's out prostituting, and she ends up going into jail, and then the children go into the system, and then that's a cycle, because that woman has had some things happen in her past where the ball had been dropped, where someone didn't do their part. And I've been seeing how many times the destruction in a person's life, it starts from the very beginning. Whether they were raped as a child, molested as a child, given alcohol early in age, or left behind. Or if they were raised in a home that was with parents being divorced. I've realized that there is something happens at that time when the home is unstable and children are being raised up in an unstable home. Now, let me be the first to say I was raised in an unstable home. I am the product of an unstable home. I have been in situations and seen things and done things that are a result of coming up in such a disorderly home. My mother didn't drop the ball, but my father did. Or maybe my mother did drop the ball because her nor my father were married. So I know firsthand what that can do and how disorder can tear apart a family. And so I have 3 siblings, and even still I'm seeing the effects that it's had on them. So I'm saying this from experience. I'm not speaking objectively, but subjectively on this. And being in the prisons and seeing the same things. And one thing that the Lord has showed me is that when there is disorder, it will show. It when there's disorder, when things are not being done the way that he designed them, you will be able to see the fruit of that. And so there's a way that God has designed things. And he talks about it in I think it's First or Second Corinthians. I don't have it up, but Christ is the head of man. The man is the head of the woman, and so children are to be raised in a home under marriage that is under God, right? And a marriage under God and under God's authority it provides a safe place for godly children to be raised. And there's an order to that, right? And so you have the wife that submits to the husband that submits to Christ. It's not because, and people have talked about this so many times, it's not because one is better than the other. That's not the case. It's just that there's order. There's always hierarchy. God always puts things in order. And so my responsibility is to find out my position, where God has placed me, and understand that is where my power lies, and operate in that. So without going so far, because I have a lot to share with you over the days or weeks, I don't know, I'll put these things out there, but I have a lot to share. And so I want to make sure that I give you everything that he's given me, and I want to talk about so much. And so let this just be an introduction to what's to come, that we will certainly be talking about marriage over this period of time, whatever time it is. And in the meantime, I want this to continue to ring to you if you're listening to this. If you are single and you're hoping to be married, prepare to exit. Prepare to exit. Think about what it takes to prepare to exit off of an expressway. If you think about if you're riding on an expressway or on a highway, you're going from one place to the next, you can look at that highway or that expressway as transition. It's a transition period. You step into transition and you go through a transitional period until you get to your exit. And so preparing to exit, I would ask you in this time to really sit with the Lord and figure out what that means for you, to prepare to exit, preparing to be someone that is complementary if you're a woman to your husband, and if you're a man, one who is preparing to be the head of a household. If you have a desire to be married, the best thing that you can do right now is to prepare for that exit. Prepare and understand what it means to be a provider, a protector, and what it means, first and foremost, to be led by the Spirit of God. To be led by the Spirit of God, and both have to be led by the Spirit of God. But God will not lead you in different directions. So for men, I would say in this time, preparing to be a husband, and women preparing to be a wife. Now on the next series, we'll talk about, and so I, as a woman, I'm going to zero in on that aspect, right, of what he's shown me in regards to me as a woman, me as the one that he has fashioned, right, or that he's fashioning, because many of us are being fashioned in this time. So a lot of this is going to be geared towards women just because I'm coming from that perspective, and I think it's my duty to speak from that perspective. But that's going to be the direction that I come from. And so we're going to just talk about this. I'm going to bring out all the things that he's shown me and told me. And I will say that if any of these things rub you the wrong way, take it before the Lord. Well, thank you for listening. I look forward to the next recording. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you, and talk to you soon.